So this is a set from probably about 3 years ago as well. This is like either the second or third time I was ever filmed. I think I may have been filmed by Jeffy's crew once between the Boston and this, but this is like the first day I ever went out with my crew in New York. So long time ago. I actually haven't seen this set in a long time, but I do remember it as actually a solid interaction. It closed well and closed to a solid number with follow-up and with a fairly cute girl. So let's have a look. I also haven't viewed this in a long time, so I'm coming to it completely like clean slate, so to speak. Hey. Hi. I'm sorry, you look absolutely compelling.
I'm waiting for a friend.
I expect. Okay, a couple things here really quickly. Maybe three. First is the opener is relevant to her. It's not some random like, what about politics or how do I get to Walgreens or something like that. It's definitely man to woman, definitely clearly about her. Second thing is good eye contact, not messing around, squared up shoulders, clearly man to woman. And the third is this right here, which is what I call the man to woman handshake. This is not a business handshake. This is not the handshake you give when like negotiating a real estate deal. All right, by shaking hands like this and having this posture, pulling her into my chest, etc., everything about this is clearly man to woman. This girl has no doubt that I'm there as a man, that I'm there with intent, etc. So that's clearly conveyed. And the great thing about conveying intent is that she's going to respond in a very pure way. So if she gives you resistance and shit tests, well, that gives you an opportunity to pass those shit tests and convey your masculinity. If she responds positively, things can escalate quickly and the set can go somewhere. But until you've shown intent in the set, you never really know where you stand. So A, it's good for the set itself, but also it's great as a barometer for exactly where you're at and what you need to do next. Guys that don't show intent are often lost in the set. They're often like, oh, where am I at? Does she like me or not? What do I do next? Whereas guys who do show intent, they will sometimes get resistance, especially if they show it in the wrong way, but at least they'll get a good idea of where they're at and where they need to go. Someone as lovely as your first appearance suggests would have friends. And another thing right there, I'm already qualifying her, right? Are you as lovely as your first appearance suggests? So I'm already sort of enacting the frame. Ironically, we're in front of the Best Buy, so the Best Buy TV frame or the buyer-seller frame, where I'm in the position of I'm buying and she needs to sell to me, as opposed to me needing to win her over.
You were good.
I have no idea what you mean by that. Apparently at this moment I'm talking to you. We'll go grab a drink in a little bit, but what is your story quickly before you meet your friend and vanish from my life forever?
Wow. My story quickly is that I'm visiting California.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So how long are you
Tomorrow is when I leave.
So she already said like, you're good, she's already giggling, she's already smiling, etc. So I know that she likes me, I know that she's aroused. The hook is there, right? So, and she's, essentially has asked me a question already. She's already invested in the interaction. So at this point, now what do I need to do? I need to find out what her logistics are, figure out what her situation is, and I also need to a certain extent, get to know her, right? Because if I don't get to know her on any level, if it's just pure game, then if I do get a number, if I do follow up, she's not gonna feel compelled to see me because she won't have a way to categorize it in her mind. She won't have a way to kind of make it all make sense, and she won't have like a narrative that we like each other. So those are the things I'm going to work on now. And already you can see it's, I don't know, like 30 seconds or so into the set, maybe 40 seconds into the set. And basically, I know she likes me. It's all about just figuring out the details. Right? Now, does she like me enough to like jump into bed with me yet? No. But does she like me enough that all I have to do is be a cool guy and we're good? Yeah, definitely. What are your plans for tonight? We need to make it exciting.
Yeah. Going out with my friends. I used to live here, so.
Okay.
So,
your friends should join my friends because that's the only way that I'm going to get to meet you well.
Where are you guys going out?
Maybe LES, maybe Meatpacking. We'll figure it out. I know a couple promoters, so we'll see what they have and go
Yeah, I was going to head to Meatpacking. I think we're just going to keep it mellow in like East Village area. Yeah. Kind of thing.
Let's do this. Why don't we're actually waiting? Where in California are you? LA or San Francisco?
Closer to San Francisco.
Where? I travel out there a lot, but I usually stay in because I do work out there. So
you live here though?
Yeah.
What do you do here?
I'm a public speaker. Okay. So I technically don't work here. I technically work everywhere, and then I come back here to have fun between periods of work. If that makes sense.
Well, yeah. Here's place to have fun. That's what I'm back here for this week, just to mess around and then I'm back.
So can I entice you to come back?
Entice me to come back where?
Here.
Oh, eventually I'm gonna be back.
I mean, not like this street corner. I'd prefer that the next time we hang out, we do it like, inside somewhere sort of like posh and relatively like nice. Yeah. I prefer to not meet girls on the street, but I didn't have a choice in your case, and you seem worth it.
Thank you. I have actually never been approached on the street. So.
Really?
Well, normally I don't hang out on street corners too often. I'll try to avoid that.
That's good. I appreciate that. That certainly excludes certain professions for you, which I appreciate. It's good. At least if you do them, you do them well.
No, I'm ruled out.
That was really bad. Let's do this. Why don't... So here what I'm doing, obviously teasing her, which is great, but also like sexualizing the conversation, making, just little inroads towards it being man to woman, figuring out what I can get away with, figuring out like how risque I can be. Now, big mistake here is I may have missed it. I don't think she said like she's meeting her friends urgently right this second, as far as I know. So mistake I made here is I'm gonna go ahead and get her number, and that's all well and good, and it actually turned out to be like relatively solid. But the mistake I made here is not closing for what I could have. Right? This was a long time ago, and my paradigm in game starting out was always number, and follow up. And to be fair, I was probably thinking just about getting a lot of numbers, getting a lot of sets, because my first day ever filming. But really, this is a situation where I should be screening for maybe an instant date, even if it's a quick one, even if it's just 5 minutes somewhere or whatever, because that would make things much more solid. So I probably succeeded but failed here by just settling for a number. We get in touch later and figure out if we're in the same area, and if so, we'll meet up. If not, then who knows? Maybe somewhere around the world.
Put your number in here.
Okay, so two things here. The close is a little bit indirect. It's kind of like hinted at. It's a softer close. Like maybe we can hang out sometime, vague, random, whatever. You want to get her to say yes to that, and then you can close more specifically. And you usually will get a better result that way if you get a series of yeses instead of going for everything at once and hearing no, and then having to backtrack and renegotiate. So that's a big one. Second thing is normally I won't give my number to a girl, I want hers. The exception to that is when they kind of bring it up. If they bring it up, like let me take your number or something like that, that's different than what a lot of guys get is they're like, hey, can I have your number? The girl's like, well, why don't I take yours instead? Right? And that's a signal of resistance. That's a signal of I'm not comfortable. I don't want to commit, that kind of thing. But if you're just talking or you've just vaguely hinted at it and she's like, well, why don't you put your number in here, etc., that's usually pretty good. And then also when it's that pleasant and positive, you can always make sure that you get her number in your phone as well, which is what you ultimately want. Even if the set's really on, you don't want to trust just like your number in her phone, because you never know with girls. You never know, like they feel great in that moment, they're super on, but then 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, their mood changes, they forget about you, whatever. So always good to have a way to contact if you're trying to play on a high percentage. Mary B just sent you a text message from your office.
She talks to me way too much.
Please don't tell her that.
She's my neighbor back at home.
So is there any reason for the city other than just to visit right now, or?
No, not right now. I hadn't been back for a couple months, so I just moved back out of here in December, so just missed everyone. Wanted to see everyone I worked with and all my friends.
So text message. Not a whole lot to see there, but good to note that as I'm getting the number, I'm still talking to her. I don't just go into like silent number mode where like, she's like thinking, oh my God, what's going on? And things are awkward, and she comes out of whatever positive mood she's in. Now you don't have to be like amazing in conversation while getting the number, but just like keep it talking, keep it rolling. It's also very good when you're pulling. Like when there's a transition in the set, when there's some kind of close going on, it's good to just keep some level of talk going, some level of banter, just so that she isn't thinking too much. She isn't like, oh, what's coming next? And it's nothing like silent and ominous. So Simon, I will let you know where we end up later tonight.
Okay.
If you want.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're off of school right now, or what's your deal?
Well, I'm going back to school in the fall. I'm out of school temporarily. No,
You're you're
for
a
the
fashion.
semester.
That explains. And then this is key for making a solid number is stay a few minutes after getting the number. What you don't want to be is what I call the phone number bandit, which is the guy that like you get the number and then you just run away as fast as possible. Which actually used to be me because I believed I would mess it up if I stayed longer. But yeah, and also you don't want to treat the phone number as an objective. You want to treat it as a means to an end, just a part of the interaction, a part of getting to know the girl. If you're treating it as a prize or a trophy, you're going to do a lot of things wrong. That
I
explains
was
how I get
fashion until I moved back to California.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, let me know where you go. I'll let you know where we go and whatever.
All right, sounds good. Yes, lovely to meet you.
You as well. Hopefully, I will always, forever be the cutest, best man. No, actually, maybe not. If you ever meet a
Public
cuter,
speaker, I hear what I know.
if you ever meet a cuter, better man than me on the street, marry him instantly. But it doesn't exist, so I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry to have ruined street for you ever.
I guess this is it, then, huh?
It's a lot of pressure.
Well, you put it on yourself. All right, my friend, she's pressed straight.
Okay, cool. I'll meet you.
All right, bye.
So it turns out that the instant date thing wouldn't have worked so well, and she may have mentioned that earlier. But in any case, pretty decent set overall. Good level of interaction, good level of attraction, decent comfort. It would have been nice to find out a little more about each other if we'd had the time. Also would have been nice to get her to qualify a bit more, but I think she was adequately aroused, as in she was having a good time and she had like a lot of positive emotions. But in terms of a good set, in terms of something that won't flake, try to think compliance over emotions. Try and think the amount that she's chasing you, the amount that she's going into your frame, the amount that if you say something, she does it, all those kind of things. That matters more than however giggly she is or how whatever like kind of emotional state she's in. So this is like a decent interaction. It ended up being solid enough that she texted back and we potentially would have made plans, but I had plans somewhere else and it didn't end up going, but there was text back and forth and there were plans discussed. So it was a good enough set, especially for a quick one. But there are things that could have been included to make it even better.